For more than a decade, viewers have welcomed Savannah Guthrie into their mornings as co-anchor of Today. She appears polished yet approachable, capable of pressing a president with tough questions and then pivoting seamlessly to a lighthearted parenting story. To many Americans, she feels familiar, almost like a friend who shows up daily with reassurance and clarity. We think we understand her, disciplined, driven, resilient, but public figures are often reduced to their most visible traits. What we see is a curated slice of a far more layered human life. The truth is not scandalous or sensational. It is something quieter and more relatable. Behind the composure is a woman shaped by expectation, loss, ambition, and the very human desire to belong fully to herself. That deeper story does not rewrite who she is. It completes her, a season of fear and uncertainty. In February 2026, Savannah faced one of the most painful chapters of her life when her mother's sudden disappearance shook her family and community. The days were filled with worry, questions, and the relentless ticking of time. Search teams worked tirelessly across Tucson. Investigators followed leads. The desert, normally vast and peaceful, felt heavy with uncertainty. For Savannah, who was accustomed to delivering news, becoming part of it was disorienting. She was no longer the steady voice guiding viewers through crisis. She was a daughter waiting for answers. That shift from anchor to anxious child is something few can truly prepare for. In moments like these, even the strongest professionals are stripped down to something more vulnerable. Titles fade. What remains is love, fear, and the desperate hope that family will be safe. Growing up under expectation, Savannah's childhood in Tucson was shaped by both warmth and high standards. After her father's early death, her mother became the family's center of gravity. Strength was not just encouraged, it was modeled daily. Grief was handled privately. Resilience was expected. In many households, that approach builds capable adults. It also quietly teaches children to equate love with achievement. Savannah excelled in school, debated fiercely, and set her sights on higher education. She learned to perform well under pressure. She learned that composure brought praise. None of this was malicious or cruel. It was the product of a mother determined to keep her children steady in the face of hardship. Yet for a teenager still discovering who she was, those expectations could feel like a narrow hallway with little room to wander or question. The private search for identity. Like many young people, Savannah sought spaces where she could experiment with ideas, creativity, and self-expression. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, youth groups, art communities, and student organizations offered that freedom. These environments were not sinister or scandalous. They were places of conversation and growth. College campuses and local gatherings gave her exposure to different viewpoints and new friendships. For a young woman raised to be disciplined and focused, those circles offered balance. She could explore interests beyond academics and career ambition. This was not a secret double life in the dramatic sense. It was the ordinary process of becoming an adult, testing boundaries, forming connections, and learning which parts of yourself feel most authentic. Every accomplished professional once stood at that crossroads between expectation and self-discovery. Savannah was no different. Love, friendship, and compartmentalization. As Savannah's journalism career advanced, from local reporting to national broadcasting, her schedule intensified. Ambition requires sacrifice. She learned to compartmentalize, placing personal questions in one mental drawer and professional goals in another. Many high achievers develop that skill. It keeps life organized, but can also create distance from emotions that need attention. Relationships, whether friendships or romances, must adapt to such structure. Some flourish quietly in the background, others fade with time and geography. What matters is that these experiences shape resilience and empathy. They deepen understanding. Savannah's later warmth on camera, her ability to connect with guests about family or heartbreak, likely grew from navigating her own layered personal journey. The public rarely sees that slow internal shaping. We see only the finished product, not the years of private growth that made it possible. When crisis forces reflection. A family emergency has a way of collapsing compartments. When Savannah's mother went missing, there was no longer a clean divide between professional poise and personal emotion. The past and present met in a single overwhelming moment. In times like these, people revisit old choices and ask difficult questions. Did I say enough? Did I share enough? Did the people I love truly know me? Such reflection is natural during trauma. It does not imply guilt or hidden scandal. It simply reveals the depth of attachment. For Savannah, confronting uncertainty about her mother's safety likely intensified her awareness of identity, family bonds, and unfinished conversations. Crisis can break open doors we thought were securely shut. It invites honesty not because secrets are dark, but because life is fragile. The strength beneath the smile. Viewers often describe Savannah as composed to the point of calm authority. That steadiness is not accidental. It is built from decades of discipline and professional training. But steadiness does not mean absence of feeling. It means choosing to carry feeling responsibly. During her family's ordeal, she demonstrated gratitude for community support while protecting her relatives' privacy. That balance requires enormous emotional labor. Behind every brief statement and measured update was likely a storm of private fear. Yet she continued to function, coordinate, and advocate. That is not duplicity, it is maturity. Public figures frequently shoulder their heaviest burdens off camera. We interpret silence as secrecy, when often it is simply an attempt to preserve dignity in the middle of pain. Family, forgiveness, and complexity families are complex ecosystems. Parents shape children. Children interpret that shaping in unique ways. Over time, misunderstandings soften into perspective. Savannah has often spoken about her mother's influence with respect and affection. In crisis, those memories become anchors. The idea that a daughter must choose between authenticity and parental approval is a common internal struggle, not a dramatic betrayal. Many adults carry pieces of themselves that emerged in different seasons of life. Integrating those pieces takes courage. It also requires compassion, both for oneself and for the parent who did the best they could with the tools they had. If anything, the recent hardship highlighted how deeply Savannah values connection over image. That commitment to family suggests strength far more profound than a television persona. A human story, not a sensational one. It is tempting to frame public figures as leading double lives because contrast makes compelling storytelling. But the more honest narrative is usually simpler and more human. Savannah Guthrie's life, like anyone's, contains chapters of ambition, doubt, exploration, love, and growth. None of those diminish her credibility, they enrich it. The recent ordeal involving her mother reminded audiences that even the most composed broadcasters are daughters first. Behind the bright studio lights stands a woman who has navigated expectation and self-discovery, achievement and vulnerability. There's no secret identity waiting to explode into scandal. There's only a person learning, as many do, that authenticity and strength can coexist. In that realization lies something more powerful than any twist, the quiet courage to be fully human.